It's time for Push to Play, your weekly trophy podcast and all things PlayStation with CJ and Unknown.
Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us for episode number 9 of Push to Plat. Whether you be a first-time listener or a returning voyager, I want to thank you for listening to us today and jumping in on what I think will be a pretty exciting episode. Today, we're going to welcome a guest. We're going to follow our normal format. I know last week we did a little bit of a sneaky thing and pre-recorded and threw in an interview and stuff, so we did miss a few of the things like games releases and news and things like this, but we'll have that all back today. But to start us off, I'd like to introduce Pvt Void. How are you today, sir?
Hey CJ, I'm doing good.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. Oh, and I suppose we better also welcome MrUnknown.
About to say, I'm here too, CJ.
Well, thank you for not interrupting my...
Just so you know.
Oh, yeah. Have you finished? Thank you for not interrupting my introduction there, Unknown. How are you today, Unknown?
I'm doing fine and dandy.
Excellent. Good. So shall we just jump in? We've got another long episode, I'm sure, so we'll just jump straight in. And Void, would you like to tell us a little bit about your gaming history?
For sure. I've been gaming since I'm a kid, like probably a bunch of you guys. I've been trophy hunting since...
Except CJ.
CJ?
He didn't start till late in life.
Really? When did you start, CJ?
Like trophy hunting?
No, like games in general.
Gaming in general, sorry. Well, I did play PC a little bit as a kid, but probably not until I was like 22, I suppose.
Oh, wow.
But very light gaming, yeah, at 22. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Oh, yeah. So I've been trophy hunting since only like 2-3 years, maybe. I never really cared about trophy. I never realized that it was a thing. And one day I played Deadly Tower of Monster that was on PlayStation Plus in like 3 years ago, something like that. And the game was actually a fairly easy platinum. I think it's like 6-8 hours. And I completed the game and there's just a couple of trophy missing. So I just decided to complete the game, pull a guide from internet, and I completed my first platinum that day. And 2-3 hours later, I was platting Rocket League 2 because I was super close, and I just, I just felt like I could get another platinum, and it didn't stop since then.
That's how the bug strikes, isn't it?
Yeah, when you get 2 on your first day, you feel like it's already struck.
I agree.
Deadly Tower of Monsters. That was an interesting introduction to trophy hunting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game. I like the humor and the 80s styles to it. It was good.
Excellent. I'd be remiss not to ask, but I noticed that you have an accent. I suppose we all have an accent because we're all in 3 different countries. Can I ask where you're from, if you're happy to talk?
Yeah, I'm French Canadian, so I'm born in the suburb of Montreal, in the region, in the French part of Canada, actually. And it's been almost 3 years that I'm living in Poland with my wife and our 2 cats.
So what made you decide to move to Poland?
I think 5 years ago, I was studying psychology at university, and I enjoyed it, but not enough. I wanted to live a little bit more, so I booked myself a flight ticket, a one-way ticket to Belgium, and I traveled across Europe, doing some hitchhiking and couch surfing. It's like a lot of people hosted me. I was traveling around, enjoying life, for 10, 11 months. Did like 20 countries or something. And when I was in Poland, I met my wife, so I fell in love a little bit too much. We traveled a little bit together, and we had like a year. It was a long distance relationship a little bit, where we're visiting each other. yeah, after 1 year back in Montreal, my plan was to take a visa and to live with her here for 1 year, and it's actually now almost 3 years, so it's getting longer and longer. But we'll see what will happen in the future.
That sounds fantastic. So you're in Poland now, sorry, or
Yeah,
yeah. Oh,
exactly.
fantastic. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful country. Can I just ask, because you're going to put us all to shame here, how many languages do you speak?
Only two, only French and English. I do.
Okay.
I do have some basic in Polish because I've been living here for 2 years and a half, but it's a really difficult language, and I can understand the conversation of people. I work with Polish people too, so they talk in Polish around me really often. But I don't communicate often enough. It's really difficult. Besides, when I go to like basic stuff like grocery, I'm able to communicate some basic stuff.
I would think it'd be hard to get a job in a country where you don't speak their language.
Yeah, but actually, I work with an international company, so I'm working in French and English, mostly in French with all the French countries of Europe. So
Gotcha.
they basically hire me because I was speaking French. So it's pretty good. They have a lot of those IT company around where you can get those kind of jobs. So
Just twisting back to gaming, what type of games do you like to play? Do you have a certain genre, or do you sort of play a bit of everything?
I play a bit of everything, and I have different moment. Like right now, these days, I've been a lot into online FPS. Like it's something that I didn't do too much in the last years, but since a couple of months, I really enjoy the competitive side of those games. Is also all the trophy are a little bit rarer these days. I'm playing some. I don't play too many easy games, so all those online games usually have some harder challenges. And beside that, I really love tacticals, everything that is like turn based. Sometimes I really get attracted to those. And I play really a lot of everything. Like I play a lot of BR games because they're online and I enjoy them. And all the Dark Souls, I play those.
I'm just looking down your list. Oh, you play a lot of PS4. Oh no, you play some Vita as well and PS3. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mostly PS4. I have difficulty to jump back in old games, but yeah.
And are you a one console, also one family exclusive PlayStation fanboy, or do you play across other systems as well?
No, no, I'm always on PlayStation.
Hmm, perfect.
I don't see why I would play another one when I have one that's working pretty
Yes.
well.
Yeah. No, no, I understand. Perfect.
CJ, you're disappointed. You wanted him to say Xbox.
Well, yeah, no, no, he didn't rubbish it, so that's a good start for us. You better be careful, unknown. This podcast could go to French if you're not careful. You could just be chopped out completely.
Wait, you speak French too?
Very poorly, so I'd prefer to stay in English as well at this point.
I'm sure it's better than mine.
I didn't realize Void spoke. I was from Montreal. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Originally, cool. So why don't we move on to a question for this week? We got a question from Mr. I'm going to say Mr. Trophy Hunter, with an awesome spelling there. He reached out to us on Twitter, which is a new thing we have now. So that's exciting. Well, exciting for me, I suppose. Anyway, so the question is. And this is for both Void and Unknown as well. Do you pick up and play games right when they release? Which ones? Why or why not? So, did you want to start us off there, Unknown?
Hardly ever is my response. I used to really get excited about a new game releasing like years ago, but it's been a long time since. I mean, well, Kingdom Hearts 3 was like the only thing that I played pretty much right on release because I was excited about it. The other stuff, I don't know. I guess I could wait. I don't get super. Oh, I have to play this like day it comes out or anything. I used to be though.
Can I ask, though, just as an extension to that question, is the reason for that because you're a completionist and you want to make sure that the trophies are not bugged as well?
It used to be. Well, I don't. I think it's more so the fact that there's a bunch to play anyway, and I don't know. I don't feel as. It's like when you're a little kid at Christmas. Like I'm sure people still feel this way about certain games, but like you're super excited, and then like when you grow up, it's like, oh, Christmas. It's awesome. It's an awesome time, but it's not like, oh man, every single day. Only 25 days or 24 days of Christmas or whatever. That's at least how I feel about it.
So basically, it sucks to be an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And Void, how about you? What do you think?
I never buy. I never pre-order or buy any game on release. It's extremely rare. It happens sometime. For example, Borderlands 3 could be a game that I will buy on first at launch. I do enjoy playing the free-to-play games at launch. When it's not a question of money, I do enjoy them. But often, it's such a nice experience to have a game that is polished and like that has all the DLC, all the stuff already in. Like I played recently, like For Honor, that I think was released like 4 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe,
it was a while.
from PlayStation Plus, and people they all told me that like the game is so much better than it used to be, and like there is no bug and everything is enjoyable. Like I don't know, I feel like it's worth it to wait to get such a better product like No Man's Sky, for example.
Very much so.
So yeah, and you save money.
Yeah.
Like there's too many games. I have too many games. I don't need to buy the new release.
Yeah, you save a lot of money. Just wait for a sale. Wait for it to be like 20%.
Yeah, that's very true.
Or free, because sometimes
Yeah,
they're just free.
Yeah.
I bought today on the new sale. There's Assassin's Creed Origin, the gold edition with the season pass, like $30, and you have everything.
As opposed to what, 140 or something, 120.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I suppose then, because I'm sort of opposite to you two, so I suppose my answers are a little bit different to this question, Mr. Trophy Hunter.
You just want to try everything out.
Yeah, well,
That's
I
what
don't
you wanna
necessarily
do.
advise what I do to anyone else. I think that point about waiting for the game to be polished is a really good point, because it is amazing. Maybe not so much in like indie single player games that they tend to be what they are, but any AAA games or any multiplayer games, they change dramatically over the first year for the better usually. So I think waiting there. Definitely. I think, it depends what you're trying to do. If you're buying everything when it comes out, it can be expensive. But then if you're buying from different regions or importing or whatever else and checking it out, it is still possible to get some good deals as well. And, if you're...
Well, the only downside to waiting, I think, would be if it was online and it was, well, I think two downsides to waiting. One, if it was online and online just became dead. But then at that, if online died that fast, is it really that amazing of a game anymore?
Yeah, that's true.
That impressive yeah. And the other thing would be like if it was some story-based game and you were like super into, I don't know, some social medias or whatever, and everyone was talking about it and you just didn't want it spoiled and you wanted to talk about it too.
Yeah.
I can see that also.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. As to which ones I choose, because, believe it or not, I don't pick up everything on the store. Sometimes Sony gets a thing past me occasionally. I'm not a mass...
There's no like notification thing where Sony as soon as it lists on the store, you get like an email, you get a bing on your phone.
Yeah. I actually got a message from them midway through last week, because I'd been away for a couple of days, and I think they thought I died. They were concerned because I hadn't picked up anything. The share price was dipping or something apparently. So I'm not sure that, but So which ones do I choose? So as I said, I tend to pick up a lot of indie stuff, not for the reason that it's going to be spoiled, because a lot of people probably won't ever play it or pick it up. I do it for two reasons. I'm in the line of work that I do. I'm always looking for some creative inspiration, so I quite often find some interesting things, whether it be in the music or direction or narrative in those stories. And I also feel for the developers, the smaller developers. Sometimes I know it's hard to tell how many people buy it if you're just using trophy tracking sites and stuff, but some of these games I don't think get very well picked up. So if it's not too expensive, and I think I'm gonna get an hour or two out of it, and I'm happy to support them there. For the AAA games, it's slightly different. I think I've been picking up stuff early for some reason recently, like the Division 2 and stuff. And again, I think maybe it would have been better to wait, because again, that game has improved a lot already in the couple of months that it's been out, and it will continue to do so. But I don't know. As I said, I think it's very specific. I suppose for me, the question of buying the games isn't the issue. It's the timing, having the time to play them. So the AAA games are always much longer. So how I would even fit that in against anything else. So that might be one of the reasons why I don't buy it, or maybe because I buy it and then don't play it for a while, I suppose, which is probably silly. So I hope that sort of answered your question, Trophy Hunter. I wonder what you do. I wonder I wonder, are you more like them or more like me? I don't know. I suppose the other thing that I'd be very interested in, I don't know if people answer stuff on Twitter or how it works. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. What interests me as a multi-console gamer is whether I would play it on PlayStation or Xbox. And that question always fascinates me when I listen to other people talk that play across both. Where they decide to play a game. So if you're like that, and you have a secret to or a reason for which console you play it on, let us know, because that would fascinate me. But I think we sort of answered that.
I just feel like Xbox and PS4 would be so similar that you wouldn't really need both systems except to play exclusives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to get to this in the topic this week about returning games and things, but we have a similar policy here in Australia. And just recently, I've actually started getting them on both systems and then taking one back and picking the one that I like better. So I know I did this with Kingdom Hearts and also with Devil May Cry. So you sort of in effect are only paying for one, but we'll get into that in the topic anyway. But you sort of get to try it on both and then decide which one you want to play it on. So I don't know. Maybe that is the solution.
How do you possibly get all your money back? You buy it new and you open it and you bring it back to them and say, "Hey, I liked it better on the Xbox. I don't want this PS4 console."
Yeah. Well, you think that the policy for GameStop over there is relaxed. It's very relaxed in Australia on what you can do with that. So anyway,
no, the policy for this is what we're going to talk about is like an exception. It's like a new thing they're trying out.
Yeah. Look, why don't we? Because we're drawing into that already. Why don't we just jump into that and we'll come back to what we've been playing? So should we just do the news now? That might be easier. Good. So what we're referencing, listeners, if you like. Now, this information came out a couple of weeks ago, but then you'll see as we go on that the second part really only just has come into effect in this week. So we're talking here about the GameStop in America, or it's a subsidiary in Australia, EB Games. I think, is it GameStop in Europe? Void? Do you have that, or what do they call them there?
I'm not in Poland, so it's really difficult.
I think it's just called Game in like UK.
Okay, yeah. So obviously they're a multinational, gaming company. So just read your quote.
Yeah, we have something called that is from UK and Poland that is called CEX. So I don't know if it's like Center of Entertainment or something.
Okay, well, I'm not sure on that one, so I'll just in case I say the wrong thing. I tend to say stuff that I realize is wrong later on. So I'll just read you this quote. So obviously this is alarming. It doesn't matter how big your business is, but it says here, one of the world's biggest video game retailers just announced its worst annual performance in decades, raising renewed questions about the health of the physical video game market as downloadable games continue their ascent. Net sales for GameStop were down 3% for the 52-week period ending the 2nd of February, a slide that has helped flip last year's modest $34.7 million profit to a sizable $673 million operating loss. Wow. It must be amazing to be in a business that you can afford to lose that money and keep going. But anyway, on top of that, the company...
Well, they were really big, but they're just like going downhill. Like
hemorrhaging. Well,
it's been a while. They even tried to like sell you could trade in like iPhones and iPods to them. That was like a flop too, I think. When I was younger, I used to go in there a lot. Like a lot.
Yeah.
I used to actually really want a job there too. Never got one. I tried, but apparently it wasn't all that great working there anyway. From things I've heard on YouTube. But
yes,
well, I'm sure it depends who you're working with and stuff. But anyways, they try a bunch of weird stuff, kind of like I don't want to say like last hope things, but just I don't know. And then some of the ideas are just bad.
They're gonna close in the next couple of years for sure. Like it's like Netflix and television. All that stuff is moving, but personally, I buy all my game digitally, so I don't buy anything physical. So.
Well, GameStop was trying to publish games. They made that one not Sea of Memories, the one where you're like in a submarine or something.
Song of the Deep.
It was like their first one. Yeah, Song of the Deep. That was it. And I think they had a few others I don't even know the names of. I don't know if they gave up on that avenue too. It's just like they were like seeing it years ago. They're like, we got to try something. Everything they tried, unfortunately, I don't think is working very well. But anyway, so the thing they were trying out this week was for Days Gone, you could, if you pre-ordered it, I think you had to pre-order it, and you could return it into 48 hours if you don't like it. I could see, I guess, what they're thinking with it. Well, you get store credit too. You don't get all your money back. So you got to also put it towards something else in the store. I think it's not as initial. Well, depends how many people return games, but I'm thinking what they were thinking was I think there's like the people that work there try to get high pre-order numbers for some reason, but it might just be an employee thing, in which case it wouldn't be high up. So I don't know why the high up people would really care. So it gets them the pre-order stuff. And then also if you're changing it in, you have to buy something. Well, it's just store credit. So you would have to buy something else so that you wouldn't lose as much money because they're still basically selling you something else. However, I'm sure these games aren't coming to them free from wherever they're getting them. I don't know how much it would cost them to get a copy of Days Gone. I would think on release, it's still got to be like from the distributor. I mean, I really don't know. I would just imagine it'd be like $40 or something, or maybe more, or maybe a little less. But still, you're losing money on that. And I'm thinking 48 hours is plenty of time for a bunch of people to just get it, play it for 2 days, story, and just send it back, or just like, I don't know.
I feel like people are lazy and not that many people will return it to the shop. Like, probably they could get some sales on that.
Yeah, but for the amount of people that could return it, and then you got all these discs.
Yeah, if the game is a big flop like Fallout 76, for sure it's a problem, but maybe they're confident with Days Gone.
I've heard that it wasn't all that great, but maybe it's just the beginning of the game, isn't it? I don't know. But if the beginning of your game is not that great, no one's gonna stick around till the end of it.
I mean, personally, I think it's a bit of a gamble if the game is a flop, definitely. But the 48 hours is not from the time you pick the game up. The 48 hours is from the time of release of the game. So if you don't pick it up for 2 days,
you go to the midnight release and you get your game and you play it for 2 days. Even if you just played it for 1 day, free. Yeah. Well, you still got to buy something at GameStop, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but I suppose, you could keep recycling it. I suppose that could be the argument. But I mean, there must be a limit to the number of people. That I think the story is around 20 to 30 hours. So there wouldn't be too many people that could marathon that in 2 days, I would imagine. And I understand there'd be some people that maybe try it for 10 minutes and go, no, I don't like it. But I think perhaps Void is right. I think the percentage would have to be fairly low compared to the total number, I would imagine, that would return it. So I don't.
I think it would be high. I think it'd be like
Well, see, the
60-70%.
The thing that you didn't factor in is that when they get they've bought the product already, the GameStop. So when they get the game back, they will sell it again on their shelf. They're not just going to retire the product. And
not if you have a giant collection of it. How many people do you think are going to get Days Gone?
No. Well, see, this is where you make your mistake, because what they'll do is, I don't know what the game retails for in America there, but it'll be a full price game here.
60.
Okay, yeah, good. So a full price game here as well. So what would happen in Australia here is they'll put that back on the shelf for $50 and sell it as a pre-owned. Yeah, so they will take a $10 hit there, but as you said, they're paying well less than the mark price on the box for the game.
But if you get a backlog of them, they're not going to sell, and then you're either going to have to sell them for like $20, or you're just going to have to throw.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, that's the gamble.
Go down on the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like you're losing money, or not even. Like, I feel like you might break even if you're lucky on this.
Yes.
I feel like it's just not worth it.
Well, the funny thing is, and alluded to this in the start, in Australia, the time is actually 7 days from when you purchase it, not from the release date. So you could go in today and buy a game that was 2 months old, if you wish. You have 7 days to decide whether you like it or not. Then you can take it back, and they won't give you the money, but you'll get the in-store credit for the full amount that you paid. So that now, see,
used game or new game?
Well, I don't know if it works for a used game, but definitely for a new game, it works.
What? For a new game?
Yes.
Oh, no, GameStop, you can do it for used games. Yeah, same thing.
It may be
7 days.
It may be used as well. But see that, 7 days, that's a long time. You could definitely finish something in 7 days and return it. I think. So I don't know. I always found
it's
that.
it's the GameStop rental method.
Yeah, I found that is a bit, maybe that's costing them more money. But then on the flip side, as I said, they do trade. If you do buy the game and you own it or whatever, and later on trade it in, they do make a good markup on that again, and in effect reselling it for no cost.
Do they also give you like really low ball numbers like when you return it?
Yeah,
GameStop give you like really ridiculously low things price wise.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I don't know. Like, I was always against. I don't really use the 7-day thing myself, but I was sort of against trading for a long time. I'm not sure why. I just kept everything. But last year I traded a ton of stuff back to get rid of it, really. And it's fine. Like, yeah, you're losing thing. But if you need the space, or you don't want to, I don't know, you've got nothing else to do with it. It's not so bad, I think there. But yeah,
well, I'm saying GameStop stuff would be like a game they're gonna resell for like $30. They'll give you like $1 for it.
So
the only time you get a decent amount is like if it's a brand new game. Maybe they'll give you like $25 or $30.
Yeah.
Like brand new, like came out this week.
So the reason they're obviously moving down this path is to combat digital sales. So I'd be interested to ask you, Void. You said that you buy a lot of digital games. Why is that? Why do you prefer buying digital?
It's just because it's super simple, but also the sales are usually pretty good too. I like to be able to track the price of sales, and when I go to the shop for physical, I mean the shop that they have here doesn't sell used like games really cheap. They have a tendency to have them, I feel like, more expensive than the digital shop. Every time I look at the sales, it always seems to be a lot cheaper. So it's just super simple, doesn't take space. I'm not a collector, like I don't have a lot of toys or figurines and stuff laying around. I don't buy collector edition or anything, so I don't know. Just don't feel like I need to have it physical.
Yeah. So the option to resell it later on doesn't worry you?
No, I never sell any of my games from my old console before everything was digital. I always kept all my stuff, and I have all my Nintendo 64 and Xbox and Wii games in my mother basement somewhere.
Yeah, I used to prefer physical. Well, I guess I usually rent most of my like the bigger games are like things like $60 things. Usually rent those.
I used to love renting. When I was a kid, it was magical to go to the renting place with my mom and rent 2 games, and it was perfect.
Yeah, because I also don't have a big collection of things. I got maybe like 20 games total, and most of those are because their physical games are like worth $1, so there's not even worth doing anything with. And then I did go through a period of buying new games and then selling them back like on Amazon and stuff, because I could usually get, well, not new. I would wait a little bit, because if you waited like a tiny bit, you get to this point where the price you bought it at, like you bought it used from a seller, and then you would just sell it for the exact same price, basically, maybe like $1 or $2 less by the time you were done with it. So it would just be like basically renting the games too. It'd be like $5 and you got to play Skyrim 5 months after release or whatever. Actually, you could actually make some money sometimes on it too. Oddly enough, you bought a game and then at the time you sold it, it'd be like $10 more that people were selling it for.
Yeah, that seems to be a really good option, actually, to resell like that. But I guess maybe in US you have easier time with like sending them and selling them. Like here, I feel like it'll be such a hassle to sending a packages that people don't speak English at the post office. For me, it's always terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, I think more though lately I do play a lot more physical or digital games than physical, and I think most of the games I play now are indies that don't even have physical releases, like Messenger and stuff. Well, actually, Messenger does have physical, but I'm not gonna pay some money for a limited run game because I'm not a collector or something like that.
I think that's the problem. I mean, everything is heading digital anyway, so I don't see how they do have a long-term future unless they can somehow manage to embrace that. And I understand that people, they like the physical things and the trade-ins, or, maybe families or parents that don't understand about buying on the store. They'd much prefer to buy the physical product. But I mean, for every one of those...
Well, there's some people that just like having physical game collections too.
Yeah.
But More so, I mean, this probably might not be true, but I just feel like if you're a collector of games, I think there's more people that want to collect like retro games as opposed to new games. I could be like, I might be very off on
Yeah.
this. I just feel like you would have a greater percentage that would be more interested in getting sealed copies of SNES games than and like keeping a collection of that as opposed to getting some Mortal Kombat 11 to put on your shelf.
But then you never know. Like maybe
But, I
in
mean,
30
I could be
years'
very
time,
wrong.
Mortal Kombat 11 will be, a valued thing, the physical game through Rarity or whatever. So I don't know. Like, I suppose it really does depend. The only other thing I would imagine is that I think there are a lot of don't know how to word this exactly, but obviously Void is very sensible and self-controlled by the sound of it with his digital purchasing. But I think digital game purchasing does lead itself to buying a lot of things that you may not buy in the store, whether it be maybe cheaper or just the ease of convenience, where you go, oh, I'll just give it a try. So I'm sure there's a lot more money to be made in that side as well. Whereas when you actually have to physically go to the store, it's more of a firm commitment in your mind, I suppose, to pick something up that way. So
like handing your credit card over to the cash register as opposed to
yeah, I think so as well. I mean, that's a well-tracked phenomenon in a lot of areas of sales for that to happen, and I'm sure that it happens just with the nature of gamers. I'm sure that's a major thing that happens in gaming as well. So I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe you can let us know if that's something that you have an opinion on or not. It will be very interesting to see how it goes. And I think maybe they did get lucky, or maybe they had some inside knowledge with Days Gone because it is a longer game, and the beginning does play quite well. So, maybe you would hold on to it. Although from what I've read as well, that the ending maybe not as great as it goes. So anyway, so we touched on that. That was sort of worked well. That was all sort of in line, the question and everything, I think. So, enough of the heavy stuff. What about what we've been playing this week? Would you like to start us off, Void? What have you been playing?
Yeah, for sure. This week I've been playing Rainbow Six Siege, actually. I bought the game for $15, really cheap and really, really good game. It's one of those... I've been playing a lot of Ubisoft games, actually, since Steep was on PlayStation Plus, For Honor was on PlayStation Plus. So I decided to go for Siege, and it's a lot of fun. I'm missing only 2 trophies that are probably... I need to get a little bit lucky, but it's probably just 1 or 2 hours, and I should have my platinum. And beside that, I've played the Path of Exile for like 3 weeks intensively, like crazy play. It's an awesome new free-to-play games, Diablo-like. So I was a big fan of Diablo 2 when I was a kid, and it felt so good to play a game like that again. It's a lot of fun, really, really. I totally recommend it if you want to have a...
You were one of like the first people to plat that
Yeah,
game,
I was
right?
the third one, actually, if it didn't change. Because it's...
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. I just decided to go for it, but...
How many hours?
It's like 120 hours. So it's a lot of time.
So you didn't sleep for a few days.
I play like 40 hours a week for 3 weeks.
Is it a hard game or is it just more of a grind, long?
It's both. At first, for like the first 80 hours, it was not difficult. But what happened is when you get late game, you have some boss to defeat and you have some really, really hard levels. And since the game is new, a lot of the rare items are really, really hard to obtain and to create your build. Because it's work all around an auction house, like a trade house made from players. So because the game is new on PlayStation, some of the rare armor for my build, they're super hard to find because nobody find it, nobody's selling it. So I think this is the game that will get a little bit easier with time as like the economy of the game get a little bit cheaper, so more similar to PC. But the fact that you have to...
Can you drop equipment for people?
Yeah, you can. Like someone drop all this stuff to me after you finish the plat, and I give it back to another trophy hunter. So we're like 2-3 people to help each other, and it helped a lot. I wouldn't have made it alone.
So it is an MMO. So do you really need to play it with other people as well, or can you play the majority of it by yourself?
You can play it all solo. I would recommend that you play with people late game. Like the early game, you don't want to because the game gets harder if there's more people, and it's not worth it. But there is some levels. Like what happened is you have to buy some maps. So you basically buy a consumable that you can put on your map device, and it opens 6 portal. So there is some maps that are really, really expensive in game. So what happened, we're like 4 people, like we bought one expensive map and 4 of us jump in the map. So we didn't have to buy the map 4 times. So it's recommended for some expensive stuff to play with others, or even I joined some, for one of the hard stuff, I just joined a guy that is not even a trophy hunter. He's just really, really good at the game and just love it. And I just asked him, hey, can I jump in your map? You take all the loot. You just do it, and he just did it for himself, and I just got my trophy, by jumping in.
When you say expensive map, is this a free-to-play game, or do you buy it?
Yeah, it's free to play. I say expensive. It's in-game currency,
so you don't have to spend real money. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you don't have to.
There's gotta be microtransactions in the game, though, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of cosmetic. There is some useful stuff. Like I spent $30 on the game. I would recommend that you spend $20 if you go for the plat and you like the game, because it gives you some tab in your stash, and there is no auto sorting in your inventory, so it gets really.
What do you buy with your $20? What would you suggest if someone spent $20 in the game?
I would suggest that you buy a map tab, so all the map are auto sorted in your stash, because otherwise it's a huge mess. There's a premium tab. It's useful because you need a premium tab to be able to sell to the trade house. So if you want to make money to buy the expensive stuff or the expensive trophies, and there is the currency tab. So there's a lot of currency, and it's basically make that everything you put in your stash is auto sorted. So it's make it really, really easy because there's no auto sort button. So to do that all manually with the joystick, like moving all the stuff around, just get extremely tedious with time. So it's more a quality of life improvement to put this $20 than like pay to win,
Okay. And I also see that you played some Dear Esther.
Oh yeah, Dear Esther. Yeah, I played that yesterday.
I don't remember that being very good.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that being like if you were walking on a beach. It was a very dark beach. I could have this game mixed up with another one. And then you walk inward on the island or the land, and that's like all I remember. It was a very memorable game.
Yeah, Dear Esther is it's not good. You have to do 2 playthrough. It's 45 minutes each. There's no platinum. So it's an hour and a half of walking simulator. When PlayStation PSN was down yesterday, so I had to play a single player game. I just put that in, play that for 2 hours, and a little 100%. It's cheap when it goes on sale, super cheap, and yeah, I enjoy doing those 100% when without a platinum, when they're easy like that.
It's from the developer is the Chinese Room. They're the people that did Everybody's Gone to the Rapture as well. So I mean, it depends, I suppose, if you like walking sims, but they have some talent, that studio.
You like slow walking, slow one.
Yeah.
It's worse than Everybody Gone to the Rapture.
Okay.
So.
Okay, yeah. I haven't played it myself, but interesting. Good, yeah, okay. Unknown, what have you... was there anything else, Void? I didn't look.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, perfect. Unknown, what have you been playing this week?
I played a few things. I played Pick-a-Pick Classic, and that was, well, it's Pick-a-Picks. There's not much to it. There's a system in there that I don't really like. If you have like a square thing in the middle, it'll like tell you that you were correct on that, and like without filling out the rest of the row. So you can like just use it to get information that you shouldn't be able to get, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And also, if you want to just fill in a puzzle, then hit fix, it'll show you the answer, and then you can go back and redo the puzzle knowing what it looks like. But I mean, since half the people that are going to play that game are just going to use a guide anyway, it probably doesn't matter. I don't know. I just like it. It's just relaxing for me.
Is this one of the ones where you have to do every puzzle?
Yeah, you got to do every one.
Oh, perfect.
Usually the Pick-a-Picks ones, you got to do every one. I mean, I don't use a guide for them because I just like doing them. It's just relaxing to me. Similar to that, Minesweeper Genius I played, which I was initially disappointed because I used to play a lot of Minesweeper. because I had a class in school, and you always got assignments at the beginning of the week, due at the end of the week. And it was a CAD class, so we had a computer. Like, we all had our own computer, basically, in the class. And I would always finish my assignments on Tuesday or Wednesday and play Minesweeper for 2 days. I got so it was basically Minesweeper class, is what I called it, what I told people in school that I was going to.
Getting a quality education, excellent.
Yeah. Hey, you learn playing Minesweeper. Numbers, quick reaction, gotta think.
Obviously.
It was different than I expected. It was actually kind of a lot like Pick-a-Picks, because you're like a little Santa Claus with you're not actually Santa, but you got a beard and stuff, so you kind of look like him. You got a brain in a jar as your helmet, though, and you sweep the floors, and well, you feel bad for the Santa because he's about to die potentially any moment. Yeah, you try to like sweep around and get to the exit, so it's a lot different than Minesweeper. You have somewhat Minesweeper like tiles sometimes. I'll say like there's 3 surrounding this that are mines, but for the most part, you're looking on the sides to see how many in that row are mines, and then you got these like tiles that are arrows where you hit it, you jump over a tile or go on it and flip around the map and stuff like that. It's pretty easy. Like it's very, I'd say it's probably like a 2 out of 10 difficulty thing. It's not super fast. What I do like about it is the puzzles are random. Big fan of that. It makes it so you can't use a guide, but it's good it's random, because it's like playing the stack of it actually feels, I mean, it feels like the same game. I mean, it is the same game, but at least there's some more replay value to that. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was somewhat relaxing too. You really don't have to think very hard. And then there's some strategies you pick up too, because there's also somewhat of a newish puzzle to me. Because then there's strategies you learn doing it, and because some of these puzzles are done so much to just autopilot all the way.
As someone that's never played or invested 2 days a week into Minesweeper Genius, is there like would it be a good place to start if you weren't that familiar with the game or you weren't that good at it? Do you think, or do you really need
with Minesweeper? Oh, it is Minesweeper, and this doesn't really matter. Like, it's not. You just learn this like anyway. Not all that complicated either. It's pretty simple rules. It's just doing fast and stuff that takes.
Okay.
And you just see blocks. You just in your mind just link it quickly to certain mine patterns and things. Also, what else did I play? Played some Visual Nonsense. We played some other unspeakable games. Far Cry.
Just before you.
No,
hang on a second.
I know what
hang
you
on.
meant.
Just
no. Was also played. Hey.
No, you're gonna totally ignore it. Unbelievable. Look at this. How did it take you 58 minutes? Anyway, don't worry. If you don't want to talk about it, we won't.
It's unspeakable.
It's there.
All right, so Far Cry New Dawn.
You did them both.
The other one isn't as bad. You gotta finish the thing on the other one.
Okay. Good. Sorry.
Okay, so Far Cry New Dawn I played. I started that one. I really did not like it. Day one and day two I played it. I only played it like an hour day one, an hour and a half day two or something, but I just like I couldn't do anything. It was just like literally half the time was spent doing that. And then I didn't even have like the first 3 hours, there wasn't even like a decent fight. It's like the biggest fight I had, there was like 2 dudes. And I don't know. It was just.
So it's mostly story driven, or you're exploring?
No, it was just running around the first 3 hours. Then It did get better. I did play it again yesterday for a couple hours. It did get better. There was actually like a decent mission where I was in a place. There was actually several enemies, like 20. So
you haven't played Far Cry 5 though, have you?
No, I played Far Cry. I played like 4 Far Cries, but not 5. I played like 3 twice, 4 twice, Primal, Classic.
Yeah, the narrative though really follows on pretty directly from Far Cry 5, so I imagine the story doesn't hold much.
Why those twins are in Far Cry 5? I just know there's these twins that are like the biggest jerks ever, and they're really not nice people.
Yeah, the twins are not in Far Cry 5, but as you get further into it, you'll see the story opens up a little bit, and that's what is a direct carry-on from 5. But I mean, so the story is whatever, I suppose. How do you find the gameplay? Do you like that, or
I mean, I'm not the biggest
not really?
fan anyway. Far Cry,
Yeah.
I didn't mind. Like I kind of enjoy them a little, but it's not like I'm a super big into first-person shooters. You can tell if you see me play it. I am not good. Using shotguns at range and getting people in chat to be like, that's not how that works.
You play them on hardest difficulty for a good challenge all the time.
I am not one of those people.
Yeah.
I played Classic Classic I did. I think Classic you had to play on like a decently hard difficulty. I don't know. It's been a while since I played that one, but
wasn't it like you just have to do the last level, maybe?
Oh, maybe that was it. I feel like I struggled on Classic for some reason, though. I know 3 and 4 Primal you could do on easy.
Have you done any of the expeditions yet? Missions? What do you think?
Yes.
Of those? Are you using the AI companion or another person or yourself?
Yeah, I'm using this grandmother with a sniper rifle that just says these really off the wall comments to you, and you're just like, what the heck? She also aims her sniper rifle at me every now and then. I'm not too happy about that. But she is so much better than I am. So she's like actually really good.
She is good value. So some of the one-liners in that game from a few of the AI companions are fantastic, actually.
They are like off the wall, the most random, borderline disgusting thing ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Those expedition missions are interesting because it is a single-player game, but that part of the game you can play in co-op.
Well, you can do. Yeah. Well, there's a trophy for co-op, so I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
But even if it's solo, I mean, you've got your AI companion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. It's fine to play I think it's a game that plays better solo the single player anyway. Only I suppose if the narrative interests you.
Yeah, because running through the woods for 1,500 meters is not much funner with 2 people.
Well, see, this is the other part that would be lost on you, but it's the same map as 5. So, obviously, it's not a spoiler, but there's, a nuclear disaster, leading into this one. And so there's sections, I don't know if you've got to them yet, there's actually sections where they haven't, reanimated or whatever the map, so you just can't go in there at all at this point, where you are probably in the story. And then there's other parts of the map where it's sort of, it's regrown or whatever, so you've got like a Fallout issue going on there. And the colors, like, I don't know, you didn't mention it, but there's a lot of pink and red.
A lot of pink. A lot of pink.
So that's sort of
too much pink.
That sort of ties on from the it's interesting you say that. I think maybe a lot of people that haven't played 5 probably wouldn't have much time for this game. But yeah, I don't know. Will you finish it?
I will finish it. Like I said, it got a lot better yesterday. I was just really not enjoying it the first 3 hours. I was enjoying it yesterday, but having fast travel and stuff certainly helps, for sure.
I think one of the catches of these more newer, more modern Far Cry games is that you definitely feel powerful in the games. Like they're not difficult, compared to some other games.
You auto heal in this one. It is not difficult.
No, not difficult.
Like you go. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm on easy, but it's like your life goes to 0, and then you just start auto healing, and then also too. Well, you auto heal even if you take a little damage. You can run up to enemies. They will like stare at you, stare over your shoulder, and you can punch them like 3 times in the face before they even lift up their gun to you.
Well, you are playing on easy.
AI not very good.
Yeah. There are a couple of frustrating trophies in there as well. So it'll be interesting to see in a week or two's time when you get there what you think of those. We'll wait and see on that. Good. Anything else?
Played Liar and the Blind Princess again. I mean, Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. I always mix that up.
You're doing a very good job of selling that game.
It's still good. Still good the third time. Maybe not as good, but it was still good. Still better than something.
It's amazing in the last, I don't know when, well, we've only been doing this 2 months, and that came up fairly early on in the podcast. So it's amazing what in 2 months, how many people have reached out and asked me about that game or have said they've picked it up because we thought it was great. So it's fantastic to see.
It's an awesome game.
Yeah. It's very good to see, and good on them for bringing it to the West as well and in English. It's great. So.
Bringing it to like 6 different languages. Or 6 stacks of the thing.
Even showing the Vita.
Is there 6 stacks?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Yeah. Unknown will probably do all 6 of them. I mean, you must. How many have you done now? You must have done almost most of them.
3.
3, yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, it's short. I suppose.
Yeah, that's mostly what I played.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. Good. I'm glad you played a lot, because I didn't play much this week, or into last week, as I've been away. So what did I just wanted to give a shout out again and thank Pelzio. Last episode, or the episode before, he mentioned this Miracle Girls Festival on Vita, which is a music rhythm game. It plays very much like a Hatsune game, and I thought it was fantastic. I don't know any of the
Hatsune.
Sorry.
Hatsune.
I don't know any of the anime associated with it, but that didn't matter. There's very little sort of cutscenes anyway. It's basically all rhythm game. There's 11. It's kind of cool. There's 11 songs in the game, but there's obviously there's 4 difficulty levels per song, or a couple more as well, but you have to do 4. And then there's also a long version of the song. So in effect, it's almost like 22 songs, if you like. And the long version is a good 5 minutes or so in there. So it's good. The songs were fun or whatever else. There was very little drift in the songs, which is good. I think there were only maybe 2 where I found that the button hits against the song didn't quite line up exactly. So possibly for those, I would recommend wearing headphones, but the rest of it was fine. Unfortunately, it is only a Japanese release, so you would either have to import it or do something there to get a hold of it. But if those Hatsune games interest you, I would definitely recommend that. I thought it was great, and it's probably there's a 24-hour trophy in it, but that's just a matter of leaving the Vita on. I'd say it probably takes around 12 to 15 hours of actual play time, and then just letting the Vita go there. And what else did I play? I played Iron Snout. I don't know if either of you two will play Iron Snout. Or not, that is.
Ew.
No, it's not that bad. It's quite. The game would probably be literally under 5 minutes if it didn't have the trophy for killing 1,000 of the enemies, because you can do everything in very, very quickly, and then just another 30 or so minutes of doing it.
So that trophy was added to combat the flack gotten from Super Weekend mode, huh?
I don't know. Maybe they've increased gameplay by adding more deaths. There are multiple,
making you do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, there are multiple levels. I think 4 or something, but you can just do it all on the first level if you want.
Of course you can.
There's no advantage to move.
Why would you have to play the whole thing?
Moving forward, and a hot tip as well, because I mean, if you're going to stack it like there's 6 stacks or whatever, so if you plan on doing that, what you can do if you have a turbo controller, you're going to love this, Unknown. If you have a turbo controller, you could just turbo the triangle, which does sort of like a back flip kick thing, and so it will just the pig will just go mad doing that, and that'll buy you around 20 to 30 kills per level, and then you just push X every minute or so, and it restarts the level.
So the game isn't easy enough for you yet, so you got to make it easier.
The funny thing is, good
job,
I'm always looking for the cheapest, nastiest route to these platinums that I could find. So I was like, I'll just give this a try and see what happens, and it worked and whatever. So I got on the Discord thing and I sent a message to one of our video guiding friends, and I mentioned, you should put this in your guide, that if you have a turbo controller, you do this, it'll save you, having to play the game or whatever. You can go do something else. And then he replied back that most trophy hunters don't own a turbo controller, or they wouldn't cheese a game that is this short. So I thought that pretty much sums me up. But anyway, so I mean, even if you don't own it,
is there some people besides Trophy Hunter that need a turbo controller?
No. Well, there's actually what is it?
I actually can't think of a reason why you would need one. Unless the only thing I could think is if there was a game that had you had to press X to fire or something, and you just wanted to fire.
Yeah. They can be handy in fighting games.
Some of those shmups, there'll be in the menu some option for auto fire, but some people don't have that. I guess I could see that as a potential why you would use one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, getting sidetracked there,
but that seems like cheating.
There's actually a thing, I don't know if either of you are familiar with this, called the Kronos Max, and I think once you own one of these, or you move down that line, you just totally
is that the you type in inputs and it just for you. You script them.
Yeah, you write a script.
Yeah, you can do a macro, I think.
Yeah.
Ew, no, don't do it. It's that's cheating in my book.
Yeah,
I'm not for that.
I would agree. You might be surprised who we know that uses them, though. But anyway, so then what else did I play a little bit of? The rest I can't. I played that Zero Petian. I'm not sure how you say it. Invasion. which is a lot like the Super Destronaut DX or whatever else. Probably a little bit tougher because you only have 2 lives. So if you die, it sort of resets, but there's a checkpoint halfway. So I don't think it's that difficult overall. What else? Oh, and then I started a little bit of Mortal Kombat 11, which is good, I think. I can't really talk to it yet because I haven't played much of it. I mean, graphically.
At the main menu. Oh, this looks good.
Yeah. No, the funny thing is, I was really tired the other night, and I was like, I better just try it and see what it's like. And so I just played one of the towers, just the easy regular towers or whatever. And you get, I think it's 4 fights or whatever. And then at the end, the credits come up. The end of game credits or whatever, you actually get a trophy for viewing the end of game credits. you don't actually have to play the whole story if you just want that trophy. So I didn't realize that or whatever. But no, I'm looking forward to only really the story in that game. The rest of it will probably be too difficult for me, but it's very bloody and beautiful and whatever else. So, if you're into that, I'm sure you're all over it. And then the only other thing I started was Days Gone. So I was unsure. I almost passed on this game completely because I read that it was incredibly long and boring. I don't know if either are true at this point because I'm only like 3 hours in. I think it's great so far. It's very Last of Us. Obviously in its nature, but also in its design as well. The crafting system is similar. It's very beautiful. I read some things that graphically it wasn't so good, but I would disagree. I think it's right up there with other AAA stuff on PS4 at the moment. It has a lot of cutscenes. In fact, I was reading somewhere that if you skip all the cutscenes, you could potentially save like 10 to 15 hours of gameplay time. So, I don't know why you would do that, obviously, but if you did, that gives you an idea of how many cutscenes. And the cutscenes in the first 3 hours, they're probably a little bit pervasive. So you can actually be going along and it just triggers a cutscene, and you start to get to the feeling where it's going to trigger it. I don't know. It's just a little bit too much for me, but I'm sure as the game opens up, that goes away. What I would be interested in is how other people are finding the weapon wheel and crafting. I like the idea behind it, but it's one of these like octopus claw grip situations where you have to hold like L2 to open it, then you got to hold the direction button to do to get the thing, and then you have to hold R1 as well to craft it. So you got all these things going on, plus you could be in the middle of a fight, and it's just a lot to deal with it, or whatever. But it is better than having to go back to a menu, I suppose, to craft. So that's cool. And then the only other thing that I found so far, I'm sure I'll have more opinion as I get more into it, but the only other thing that I really liked was the effective use of the touch button on the PS4. I don't know if you guys have ever played a game where it was used well or even used at all.
I always, if it's a button, like if they treat it as you just click it, it's a button, I'm fine. If it's like you gotta move your finger around and do things, usually I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But if it's like one button, like if it's touch screen, bring up the
map or something.
Yeah.
Well,
that I'm okay with.
Well, you can't.
It's dependent of the game. I don't mind it, but I don't remember which game I was playing. Every time you were just touching it, it was like opening the menu by accident.
Yeah.
I think it's Dying Light. Yeah, Dying Light. It was like super sensitive. I don't know why.
Yeah, I guess I don't really accidentally touch it.
Yeah, but it happened just with this game, so I really feel like maybe the way it was programmed was really, really.
Oh, like all you had to do was just have your finger over the touchpad,
it's just opening the menu.
Trigger the sensor on the touchpad and not push it down to trigger that button underneath.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like 4 directions. So if you go up, it's open one menu, on the right side another menu, on the left side a menu, something like that.
Yeah, I can see that being a pain.
Yeah. Well, in this game, I haven't come across a game that uses it in this way. You can swipe up, and it actually brings up the map and the menu, and then you can swipe to the left or the right to bring up the skill tree or the whatever else. Which it doesn't sound maybe fluid, but it is very fluid in the game. And there are button options if you prefer not to use it, but it's a really good way of just checking your inventory while you're playing. You just up and down, and then it's up and then it's off the screen. So I do quite like that method. I don't know. So it's good that someone's doing something.
It sounds like Tinder. They should bring Tinder on PlayStation 4. You can swipe right and left, no problem.
Might be better than phone Tinder. Who knows? You actually get to find people interested in video games.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that. That's exactly oh no, that's going to ruin it for me now.
It'd be great.
That's exactly what it's like.
Put some trophy on it. You're gonna match people left and right.
Yeah, that's right. difficulty setting swipe. Yeah, I like it. No, that's cool. So look, I don't know. I know it only just came out, so there's some people possibly sitting on the fence with it. One thing I did like is obviously, a huge part of the game is going to be riding the motorcycle, and for a AAA game, usually the driving is not great across the board on most of the games, but the driving in this is very it's very light it's very responsive, the motorbike. So I don't know, I wouldn't go as far to say it feels like a racing game. It is still a little bit too floaty, especially if you take corners and stuff. It's not difficult to end up in a tree there, but there's no real punishment for that or whatever. You just get back on if you fall off. It doesn't matter. It's not a bad mechanic overall from them. So I don't know, if you're sitting on the fence, maybe read a review of someone who's played more than 3 hours of the game, because I do understand it becomes very monotonous. There is quite a lot to do on the map though, which is good. I know recently that Generation Zero that came out suffered the opposite problem. So having too much to do is always better than having nothing to do as well. And there's plenty of methods for killing the things. That the enemies are freakers or whatever, so they come at you, I don't know, quickly, but not that quickly.
Freakishly.
Yeah. And one thing I like in the first sort of area you get to is it's not jump scares, but they definitely do build some tension, and the guys jump out of you like doors you wouldn't expect that are supposedly locked and stuff. So that's cool. I don't know if that carries through. And then there are these kid freakers. They call them newts. They're adolescents or whatever, freakers, and they tend to like be on roofs and stuff, and they won't actually attack you unless you have low health or unless you go right up to them. So that's pretty cool. They'd sort of come out and feed on the dead things. So there's always something around, like you can hear them or you can see them. It's just whether it's a big one or a little one, and whether they come at you or not. So it's good, I think. But I don't know, it will be up to you as always, because there is so much stuff to play there. So I think that's all. And then the only thing I wanted to shout out, because I have been away and not really gaming at all, was I decided to do some reading, which is good. I should do more of this, I think. And I
branching off the podcast into a book club.
I didn't go too far, so I thought, I've got a few different things going. But I decided to read this Console Wars by Blake Harris. I don't know if either of you have read this. It's been out for a while. I've been meaning to read it for ages. It's about the Sega versus Nintendo war in the sort of 80s and 90s. And I won't go into it, but I personally knew very little to nothing about that time. And it's been fascinating to read it. He has really good insight. He's a very good writer. And, it's written sort of almost like a story narrative, then with the facts sort of dropped through it. So it's not a hard read by any stretch of the imagination. And it really does a good picture, paints a good picture of how ruthless corporate America, because they focus more on the American division than the Japanese division of the two companies, how ruthless that can be.
Well, I feel like in Japan, Nintendo would just probably hands down won.
Well, they were.
I mean, I feel like they won in America anyway, but I feel like in Japan, I could be wrong. I feel like Nintendo would have just had a really firm grasp over Japan.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's amazing how arrogant Nintendo was.
It'd be like Xbox in Japan now. I don't know. Maybe Sega had a big base in Japan. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the book does a good job of creating the hero and the villain, if you like. I think he's a little bit biased one way, but more than the other, which you'd get.
Who is the villain?
Well, I think Nintendo is definitely painted as the villain in the book. I mean, when we consider where we are today, like it also talks a little bit about Sony and how Sony sort of, I didn't realize, but Sony got very, very badly burnt by Nintendo very early on, and publicly embarrassed in Japan and stuff.
Sony was trying to burn Nintendo too.
Well, yes, that's right. Later
they
on,
had these early ads. No, I'm saying they had these like early ads that were like direct, like reference things to Nintendo. They had like these Crash ads that were like, he was like trying to replicate Mario or something. I think I actually heard that they thought they might be like sued potentially for doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of underhanded stuff that the book goes into. So, I mean, if that interests you, I definitely recommend reading it. And even if you don't, I'm going to just throw in one piece of trivia that I didn't know, which I found fascinating. But Nintendo, the company, is a very, reasonably old company. It started like back in the 1880s, I'm going to say. And it started with gaming cards, like playing cards and stuff like that in Japan. And that story alone is fascinating as well. And then how they grew eventually into, what they are today. So if that interests you, I'd recommend reading it. I know he also has another book recently that came out all on virtual reality and augmented reality and the future of that. So, both would probably be fantastic reads if you need to take a little break from gaming or something else, but you don't want to stray too far away. So. I think
I don't want to play video games. I'll just read about them.
Well, I think I spend more of my time reading about games and stuff than I do playing them these days. But that's good.
I don't remember when was the last time I read a book. So
Same here.
Stay with
probably college. Probably like 2 years ago in college was the last time I read a book.
Yeah.
5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has their own medium or whatever, but it's good. Yeah. So anyway, speaking about different forms of media and mediums, why don't we move on to the topic for this week? So the topic, I didn't introduce it in the beginning. I don't know why. I apologize for that. But we're going to talk about streaming. Well,
because you're too busy thinking, I'm going to purposely not say unknown.
Well, actually, to be honest, when we started, it was 6 a.m. Here in Australia. So I was just thinking about being awake and drinking my coffee. So maybe that's why I skipped it. But anyway, so we're going to talk about streaming. Well, more accurately, Void and Unknown are going to talk about streaming. And I'll just throw in some questions that are probably irrelevant as we go, because I don't know too much about streaming. But maybe to start us off, I could ask you both, like, how you got into streaming. So Void, how did you get into it? How did you start?
3 years ago when I moved to Poland, I was playing video games on my own, and I always had in the back of my head that I would like to stream one day, but I felt like I needed a reason to start streaming, and it's actually clicked at the same time as I start trophy hunting when I discover what it was, and I got my first platinum. It's like in my head, it's like if two cable just connected together, and just like I have an idea of like how my Twitch channel could be. Let's do a trophy hunting channel, and I started with it.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of along the same thing too, because it's like there wasn't really any trophy hunter streamers that you could think of. I mean, I certainly didn't know of any at the time. Like 3 years ago, I think that was when I first did this. Maybe I tried like 4 years ago. But
so I started like that, and when on my first year in Poland, I had like 1 year off, so I had a lot of time of playing video games and just enjoying life. So it was a good opportunity to try that.
And can I ask, so you stream on Twitch, that's right? You both stream there? Yeah, okay, good. So as you know, I know nothing about this. So Twitch is the only place to stream or the best place to stream?
You can stream on YouTube too.
Yeah, YouTube too.
Pretty easily, I think too.
So why do you choose Twitch then? What's the advantage for you?
Personally, I just feel like it's the biggest platform, so it's the platform that is the easiest to reach people. By streaming on PlayStation, I'm a little bit limited between YouTube and Twitch, but I feel like YouTube, if I would go on YouTube, I will need to do videos also to attract people. I don't know if streaming on YouTube without video is worth it.
Well, the stream saves as a video, but it's the same thing as like Twitch VODs, but I think they just stay there maybe forever. If you're wrong on that, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But then again, if you don't have a fan base on YouTube, no one's gonna find it either. Because like if you're on YouTube, you got way more stuff. I mean, Twitch now is getting like things like cooking shows and weightlifting shows and whatnot, but YouTube has far more random stuff. Well, I guess I shouldn't. There's some pretty random stuff in those IRL channels. Also, too, I think it'd be easier. Well, I mean, I guess on YouTube you could also just search the name of the game.
Yeah, but I think it's possible to make it on both platforms. Just for me, Twitch seems to be the easiest place to go. I know there's Mixer, there's DLive, there's a couple of places that try to make competition to Twitch, but they have a lot of difficulty.
Facebook too, I think even.
Can I ask then, so when you started, like, did you know people that were doing it, or did you just log in one day to Twitch and start, or how did that go?
Oh, I just pushed a button and I just started. Didn't know anybody, but I started networking as much as I could, meeting some random people. I was always trying to find some other PlayStation streamer. So I found one person that I enjoy watching. I joined his Twitch team. I met a lot of other streamers, and I just started going around trying to meet other people.
Okay. Unknown, how did you start? I don't actually know.
Yeah, I mean, I was same basically. Started by myself, didn't know any, and then streamed to. I actually had two times where I stopped. I had streamed like maybe 2 months, and then I stopped, and then came back maybe 7 months later. Streamed for another month and stopped. But at that point, it was like I was always streaming to 0 to 1 person. So when you're doing that, it just gets very, very like I don't want to say repetitive, but if you're just talking to yourself for forever,
It's quite hard mentally too. I feel like
because otherwise, if you got people in there, it's like you can have conversations with them. You got people to entertain as opposed to just talking to yourself.
So how do you go about, like, you started with, 0 or 1 people. How do you go about finding people then to come and watch, or getting the word out, I suppose? Like,
I mean, most of the people I met not because they came into my stream. I just met them like in Discords or
on Twitter or like even PSN profiles. Like I invited a lot of my friends and my family to come. My mother doesn't come all the time, but she sometimes she pass and she say hi. It's just building this network and just talking to people, putting yourself out there, putting people of your real life in there works for me. And
yeah, because if you can get up to a decent number, then people can actually find you. But if you're streaming Zerotopian Invasion to one person, no one is gonna find you.
Yeah, the choice of game is really important too. Like if I never like to play those small indie games because it's super hard for people to find you. So I always enjoy to play some game that are like in the top 25 or 50 on Twitch. So like there is always some people looking for new streamer in those games.
Yeah, because if you could, I mean,
it helps
at that point, you can get random people. Because like even if you're really good at streaming, you're like really good at having conversations and stuff. If no one can find you, and just no one knows you're there, yeah, good luck. Because you'd also be surprised, like even in those top games, people that are just not, I don't want to say not good streamers, but they just like will not talk to chat, or they'll just do things that you just shouldn't be doing really. But they'll still get like a decent amount of viewers just because they'll get random like people come in and out, or because the game is so popular enough that random people come in.
so if the game's important in the choice void, how do you, like you said, you mentioned you picked the top sort of 20 games, but you're not talking about like streaming Fortnite or Apex Legends, are you? Do you stream those type of games, or?
No, I never play some top games. Like I actually tried with Apex Legend because I really wanted to play, and I wanted to try, but I didn't like the feeling. I mean, all the people that are watching the stream were there, like usually, but I did get maybe 1 or 2 new people, but I feel like it was unproductive. Like I'm hidden in the bottom of the list. It's oversaturated.
Yeah, if you're playing one of those top games, then you're also going to have the same problem. You're going to have thousands of people trying to stream it.
Yeah, so it's depend what you want from your stream. If you want to stream just for you and your friend, cool, it's fine. But if you try to see your stream as a little bit more of a business, or want to grow, it's really really unproductive. And like streaming Fortnite, don't even bother. Like League of Legends, all the top 10 games, like it's yeah. As a trophy hunter, also you always switching game or variety streamer. It's really
it's very hard being a variety streamer in general too.
Yeah, it's quite a challenge.
You get a lot of people just for that certain game, and then that's all they want to see.
Yeah, you see them like you play the same game for a week. They're there every day. They're super nice people. You switch game, you never see them again for the next couple of months.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just before we get too far down that line, can I ask you both, like, I don't know if it's a secret or not, I assume not, what sort of equipment do you need or do you use or recommend for streaming? Like, there's equipment involved, isn't there, rather than just the PlayStation?
No, you can do it from just your PlayStation.
Yeah, I have probably I mean, it's not basic anymore, but it's really, really close from basic. The way I'm streaming it, I'm streaming directly from the PlayStation with the PlayStation camera. It's the only one that works for the PlayStation. I go with the broadcast, so I almost have no setting to do. I use a plug-in USB microphone that I bought like 2 months ago, but before I was just using a normal headset, and you just push the share button and you start. You do the advertisement a little bit left and right, but it's really just PlayStation. And the camera, if it's optional, totally recommend it. But yeah.
Yeah, you got advantages to direct from PlayStation too, because you can get
Yeah.
you'll get people can find you that are viewing like games in a store or something. And if you're playing a PS Plus game and you can get into one of the top like slots, you'll get like 100 people.
Yeah, I did that. This was all the time. My biggest stream were always PlayStation Plus stream, just because of this PlayStation Plus effect
Yeah.
of having people from PlayStation Live just joining randomly from their PlayStation. It's crazy the amount of. I mean, there's so much traffic. There's so much people passing to this game when PlayStation Plus launch that they just look at your stream. They see your stream directly there, and
Yeah, they just want to check it out for a little bit too, see what this game they're going to download for free is.
small advantage.
Because actually, too, a lot of them will ask, "Is it worth downloading?"
Oh yeah.
And it would be like, it's free. You could download it, and if you don't like it, just don't play it. But
Yeah, they really want your opinion. They're really asking themselves, is it good? Like, man, the game is free. But maybe some people have some bandwidth and they don't want to download the game and just delete it if they have limit of download per month. But no, it's funny.
Do you think do you think obviously this is a free game, so people don't have to pay for it, but do you think some of the people watch because they're making a decision on whether they will purchase the game, if it's a paid for game?
Oh, all the time.
I've had that. Yeah.
All the time. There's people they go. There's a lot of viewers. They go on Twitch and they just want to have your opinion like live and see at the same time when you're playing.
And just see some gameplay and stuff.
And you make such a good decision. If you tell to the people, yeah, it's awesome, they usually will buy it directly, and you can have such a big influence on like if the people buy the game or not. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly. Usually, I mean, I will look on Twitch sometimes. I mean, I used to just go on YouTube and type in review. But, I mean, on Twitch, you could just even ask the person, so how is this aspect of the game that they don't say in the review on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, you can have the interaction. Yeah, I use YouTube most of the time too. I don't take time to go on Twitch to find somebody to ask them a question and look at the gameplay.
So Void, what do you think makes a good streamer?
I think a lot of it come from consistency, which is probably one of my biggest flaw at the same time, because it's so hard to be consistent, to have this schedule like a TV show, every week the same thing. I think it's important to be consistent in your streaming and your schedule, where people they want to know when you're there, and humans are a habits creature, and people, they will come back all the time. But if you stop being there, and if you don't have a schedule, for example, it will be sometimes really difficult for people to follow. So I think that's one of the most important thing. After that, it's to be able to talk to people, to be reading chat, to have a quality stream. People don't want to watch something that is lagging too much, but yeah, had a little bit of personality, or to be really good at what you're doing. Either really good
or do something different too.
Yeah, be creative, but get consistency and quality.
Do you think also, like, I mean, I've watched a little bit of your streams. You're quite a skilled gamer, so is Unknown. Do you think like that's important that you have sort of a
Well, thank you, CJ.
What I'm driving at is here. So someone like myself, I would die a lot. So I do this. I have to do these sections quite a few times. So it would be very boring. I would never. I don't want to watch that. I would never make someone else watch it. Do you think you definitely need to have a certain level of skill in the game as well?
I don't think skill is important, but I think it's a plus, or it can be one part of your personality as a person to be a skillful gamer. But someone else could be super entertaining and doesn't need to be necessarily good at the game. So I think I'm happy that I'm good, because I like to perform, but at the same time it's make it difficult. It's make me a little bit frustrated when I'm not performing enough, which somebody that doesn't care could have probably an easier time going through a difficult period of gaming and having difficult time.
Yeah, I think the point when skill would matter is if you're like top 10 in the world at League of Legends or something, where it's directly related to how good you are. I think for most streamers, it's I think more entertainment and stuff. And
Yeah, definitely for most streamer, they're more into entertainment. But at the same time, I know there's some people that watch Twitch also for learning.
yeah,
A lot. They comment, they ask you tips when you play online games. It's crazy. People want to have your opinion. When I was playing Path of Exile for the first day, people asking me for build and stuff. I'm like, I have literally no idea what's this game about. You know.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that. So with that in mind, do you try a game before you stream it? Like, will you play it a little bit first to sort of see how it fits, or do you just sort of pick it and go?
No, I was just picking it and playing them. Usually, mostly if it's a story driven, I like to have like to do the beginning with the people on stream so they can like follow the story with you. But also when I was streaming a lot, like I didn't really have all my time of gaming. I was putting it into stream, so I was not passing some extra time testing a game. Like I didn't have time with a full time job and streaming. I'll just start it and let's roll with it.
yeah. I like doing it fresh without having any play into it either, just because I think it makes it more, I don't know, almost enjoyable to watch more. So because I have better reactions to things and stuff. I'm like, oh man, look at that and stuff like that, as opposed to I just know the game already.
Do you ever ask people what they'd like to see, or do you just sort of make the decision yourself what to play?
I've tried that; it doesn't work out.
Same thing. I try to. I like to do like a poll sometime on Twitter or on Discord, just asking people.
People would just vote for their.
What would you prefer?
Yeah, people will vote for their favorite game, even though they're never gonna watch you, or they will vote for the most trolly thing they can give you, the longest, hardest game possible, and they still won't watch you. Like I would stream if I had like a big enough amount of people that watched where it was like I will stream a game if you guys really wanted to see it, but it just never works out because I only have like 10 people that would ever.
I think the only way that it could work out is if you have like most of your viewers or your subscribers, maybe the people that are more. There's a lot of chance that they will actually watch the stream, but to be honest, those people that watch the stream all the time, whatever you're playing, they're
Be there anyway.
likely to be there anyway and be with you, you know. So you better play something for you, or better play one of those popular enough games to meet new people on Twitch.
Yeah. Okay. So you talked about consistency before. So which days you stream and regular streaming and stuff. Do you find streaming tiring? Like trying to maintain that schedule? Do you ever feel like not doing it, or?
Yeah. Actually, it's been 3 weeks that I didn't stream because of that exact reason of being tired. It's so exhausting. I have a full-time job, 40 hours a week, and if the mental is not there, sometimes it's really difficult to just start. I was doing really good for 3 months, and then my father visited me from Canada, and I stopped for a week. And you know this expression that say what's in motion stay in motion. It's exactly what happened.
Yes.
I just stopped, and it was so hard to take the beat again, and I didn't manage to find my beat again. So I hope it will come back so I can start again. But every time you stop for a couple of days, I feel like
but it's the same thing when you're on a roll streaming every day. It's just
difficult.
like it's hard to not stream that day or the next day.
Yeah, the habits is so important, and otherwise it's so exhausting. Like I don't know, I haven't been able since a couple of weeks just because of that.
Well, how long do you typically stream, Void?
Usually I was streaming at my minimum was 4 hours on weekdays, and on weekend was 6 hours.
Yeah.
So I tried to reduce it. Like I started with 2 days a week instead of 5. After that I brought it to 3, 4, trying to guess. But I feel like if you do two times a week, it's not enough to be in this like motion and like doing it not every day, but to be in the habits of doing it all the time.
Well, also too, if you're like you said with the consistency, what happens is you don't stream, the people stop coming, and then it's just hard to like restart up again in a way.
Yeah, it's actually people don't know that, but I feel like it's it's so exhausting and it's asking for a lot to be streaming all the time.
Well, because I mean, just imagine you're talking for, well, you're like multitasking for several hours in a row. You're talking constantly for those 7 hours. Like you're playing video games while trying to read chat, while trying to make sure your stream doesn't crash and whatnot. And yeah, it's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah,
Most
people
people
usually they just imagine you playing video games. Oh, he's just playing video games. It's easy. Why he's not starting? Why he's not streaming every day? Like, just play video games. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fair enough to say it's more that you're performing, I think, than just playing, aren't you? Like, with the interaction you're trying to get. So sort of on that line, how do you interact with the chat? Like, how do you feel is the best way to go about that?
I mean, to be sure to have 2 monitors. That's the most important thing. I have no problem. I think it's a habit to read the chat. Like for me, when I'm streaming, on the corner of my eyes, I always have the chat there, and I see when it's moving, and I'm automatically checking it. Besides some time when I play online games, but otherwise, the focus goes there, and you're just talking. I'm someone that doesn't have difficulty to have a conversation about everything or nothing. So there's just talking like you talk to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I find it like when you have someone talking in chat, it's a lot easier to just keep going too. Like stream longer. I don't know if you feel that way too, but it's like, because then if you get like a dead moment, like you'll still have people in your chat, but they won't really say much. Like, and then you're just back into the mode of talking to yourself, and then I don't know. It's just easier when there's more of a constant thing in chat. I find it more
totally
too. Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I always wonder that because, I don't watch a lot of it, but I tend to do a lot of work from home. So sometimes I open it and I just have it in the background. So, I'm maybe not an active user. I'm not typing anything or anything. And to be honest, quite often I forget to turn the online button on as well. So it would appear that I'm not there, I suppose. Do you concede like they're
Wait, what do you mean your online
like
button? You're not connected to the internet?
No, isn't there like a thing that says you're invisible or you're online in Twitch?
That's only if you're on your friends list.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. So
if you're in a stream, it doesn't matter. Yeah. No, lurkers are appreciated.
And lurkers are appreciated.
I don't like. I'm much like. Yeah, if you want to just sit and not talk, I'm very fine with that.
Yeah.
Thank you for lurking.
Well, I just wonder if there might be sort of common, you're doing other things and you just have it on as well.
Oh yeah, extremely common.
Yeah, I think most people just lurk.
Yeah,
I do that too when I'm watching. Often I'm not typing because I'm usually playing video games at the same tab. So
yeah, well, I mean, it is a very social. I mean, for you, it's very social. Obviously, you're talking and interacting, but I think it's also sort of social for the people watching as well, isn't it? Because they can be involved. Or whatever else, and I suppose, I mean, I don't know if you would say this, but I suppose they get to know you as well through the consistency. Do you sort of see it like that you're, I mean, you're sort of getting to know other people, or do you feel that it's really just game driven and you don't get to know them?
No, I get to know people a lot, and I'm someone like you asked me about my life earlier, and I'm just telling my story, and I'm happy to talk to people. There's always some people. I find it funny that they ask a lot of personal questions, not necessarily too personal, but they just asking like what you're doing, where you're living, and they want to know.
How
your
old
story.
Are you?
Yeah. People want to know that for some reason, so it's always a pleasure to share with them.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I mean, I know there's a lot of whatever dodginess on the internet as well, but I think some of that stuff in moderation, it just helps people associate with you, I think, doesn't it? So, ages and things like that as well. So I'm not sure of your age, and I'm not going to ask you now that you mentioned that, but I assume you're similar to Unknown in that regard. So
I don't know what age.
Well, should we? Are you happy if I ask? Are you under 30 or over 30?
Yeah, I have no problem with age.
Okay, so
I'm 26. So.
Oh yeah, okay, good. So yeah, you're in that sort of ballpark. How do you find, like, do you? What am I trying to say here? A lot of the gamers I've sort of dealt with and found are sort of maybe like early 20s, like 20, 21, 22 or so. How do you find being like slightly, or do you see yourself as slightly older than most of the people you're streaming to, or do you think they're a similar age?
I feel like most of the people I'm streaming, I feel like half the people I'm streaming to are older than
Yeah, there's a lot of older people, and
I mean, not older, like not like 90 years old.
there's a lot of people that have children that are watching me and
Yeah.
talking with. There is really a wide variety of people from 14 years old to 35, 40 people, 40 years old.
I mean, it's probably also going to depend on what type of stream you have too.
I like the mature talk with people. They have no problem having older people on the stream.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, and then I mean, you just touched on it really briefly before, Unknown, about the business of streaming. Like, is it a business? Like, is there money to be made here? I understand that the top people in the world are making ridiculous money, but just for the entertainment for you guys,
Yeah, like 3 people.
yeah. So
it's a job that I don't think I would want to have. I feel like for most people, like the average streamer that's making like a decent money on it, I'm thinking it's still got to be really stressful. It's still got to be like you just have a bad week or month out of nowhere, and you're just like, that's just like it. Because like, who knows? It could just be all of a sudden you're just I don't know, Fortnite streamer, and
it's not really a stable job.
It just seems very shaky. It seems like it would be hard to put away stuff savings wise.
Yes.
I mean, I actually think a lot of streamers probably don't. I mean, I know you hear of the people that make millions of dollars, but I'm just thinking the majority of people aren't making nearly that.
You really have to give a lot of hours and a lot of time to be to a certain point where you can just live from that. But at the same time, like for me, if I would like to reach that state of like making enough money, like yes, it will take a couple of years, but is the fact that I have to do that kind of full time while having a full time job and having like a wife and having anything else in the middle is like there's not enough hours in a week to be able to build that. It's possible for people. Like people do it.
Yeah. Well, also it's not just Twitch at that point. If you're making a living off it, you're also going to have to be spending all your free time on your other social medias and stuff like that.
You have a lot of stuff to build. It's possible if you really want to. Like people do it and it's awesome for them.
Yeah.
But it is stressful. Like I can only imagine how difficult it can get.
One thing that's always intrigued me in all areas is people that try and turn a hobby into a job. And you know, obviously, you know, you both enjoy your gaming as well, you know, and you know, I love it or whatever as well. But it's not something that I would ever try to turn into a job, because I think the enjoyment, you know, would go away. I think, as you say, like the hours you have to put in and all the extra stuff. So, like, it's refreshing to hear people that are doing it for the fun of it. It's not a financial gain for either of you two, by the sound of it.
I feel like if you could turn it into a job to the point where you're living comfortably and it was like very stable, I feel like that would be fine. I just feel like if you're stressing yourself out to job and you're barely making by, and that alone is just giving you stress, then that is building into the fact that you have to use your previous enjoyment to try to make money off of it, and then that's making that stressful and unfun. Yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah, no, of course. Just to, again, because again, I don't know anything about how this works. So I understand your channel is always there, isn't it, Unknown? You're an affiliate. Is that the correct word? Or
yeah, affiliate is.
What do you mean always? Everyone's channel is always there.
Okay, well, your channel always has people on it, even if it's not you. Like, well, not always, but most of the time, there are other people that use that have a go on your channel as well. That's correct. Like, or do you just?
I host people.
Host people, yeah. So does everyone do that, or that's not on, or is that like do you build up to that? How does that?
You can auto host people. You could raid people. Okay. I like rating people.
Most people do it when they learn about it. Some people are not aware what it is, so they don't do it. But most of the people, they do it. Hosting doesn't help too much, in my opinion. Like, it's rare that I will like go on unknown stream to find some other streamer. But raiding can be helpful too. After your raid, to just bring your people to make them discover your friend.
Can you explain what that is? Sorry.
Yeah, you show them that channel. You bump up their numbers a little bit to make it so that other people could find them potentially. thing to do. Then you hang out in their chat for a few minutes. And...
Oh, so you're basically taking your audience to their stream. Is that what
exactly.
you mean? Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
Excellent. And then that would work both ways, I imagine, and stuff. So okay.
Yeah, usually when you raid people, they will usually raid you back, and you build a nice network, and you mix communities, and people start talking on each other's streams, and it's definitely the way to go.
Good. So we've talked about all the sort of positive sides of streaming. And I know you talked about, the tiredness and stuff. What's the worst thing about streaming, would you say? What do you really dislike?
The worst thing about streaming is when you are in the middle of a stream and your internet goes out. You just have to stop because of that.
Or when you have the blue screen on PlayStation when you're broadcasting. Yeah. Oh, boy. Every time the game crashes because I'm on PlayStation, my stream crashes at the same time. It's terrible because you have to start the stream all over again. People in those 5 minutes, people are going away. They're not staring at the screen when nothing is happening. So you have to find this energy inside you to start again, to be positive again. To all the momentum is destroyed. So it's really the worst thing about streaming on PlayStation.
Yeah, I'd say technical difficulty is my worst because it's similar with the internet going out. It's like, well, I have to wait. I don't know how long. I can't tell people I'll be back in 15 minutes, and then they all just leave or go to bed because who knows when they'll come back on. And it's just like out of your control to do. So,
and I think one other thing for me is generally the pressure of being consistent and be there all the time. I haven't been there. When you're not there for a week, people start asking, "Hey, when you streaming again?" I don't know. There's I feel like you need to be really stable mentally, you need to be really, really comfortable to be able to do that. You heard a lot of stories about a full-time streamer that go on depression, for example, and I feel like it's really easy to burn yourself out when trying too hard at the same time. So I think mental health could be one of the negative things of streaming.
Yeah, because also too, it's I don't know if you're this way, but when people will ask you, "Are you going to stream and stuff?" It's well, I wasn't planning on it, but I guess I will because someone wants to watch it at least. So.
I don't do that too much if I didn't plan it. But what happened is often when I'm not streaming, and people ask me that, I don't know, it's put a certain pressure that I would prefer the pressure. I would prefer if people don't ask me. So it's weird because it's positive, people want to see you, but at the same time, I would prefer if nobody's expecting something from me. I would prefer if there's no pressure.
Yeah, the expectation. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Also, one other negative that I don't personally get. I had a couple instances, but trolls. I don't know if you've ever had bad trolls, Void, but I had one or two, and that was it.
Sometimes it happened a lot with For Honor when it was on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, it happens more with bigger name games.
But I had more viewers than I ever had. I was in the 100 viewers, and then you ends up with a lot of views from PlayStation and people coming and writing stuff about view botting and everything. I'm there's 4 or 5 people in the same evening because there's not enough people chatting in my chat, and I don't know, it's just difficult. People are just coming all the time. You're repeating the same story, explaining what's happening, why you have so much views. And I don't know, it was bothering me when I was streaming. It is annoying to have people telling me, are you view botting? How do you get so much viewers? And what? It's PlayStation Plus. People just appear from nowhere. They're just a lot of new people downloading the game and playing it. This is my worst instead of troll, I would say.
Seeing we brought up the trolling situation, how do you handle someone that's doing the trolling to you? What would you advise to new streamers? What should they do?
Depends. If it's super bad, just block them. Of course, then they're gonna make new accounts. That's happened to me and come back. Ban them again.
That must be annoying. It's never happened to me. Every time I ban somebody, they just left, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. Usually they don't come back. I've had an instance where someone came back 4 times.
Yeah, this must be terrible. Yeah, if you have mods, usually they can cut up some stuff, but
yeah, it's much easier too to deal with now that if you have several people that always come back in, because also too sometimes you'll you'll get a troll, and then like the rest of your chat will like attack them.
Yeah, that's cool. When you have your community there, it's awesome. But otherwise, if you're if you troll, if it's too much, just block the person. Try to ignore the person and just keep going on your stuff. It's always difficult for the mood a little bit, but it's part of the deal. If you start streaming, you know you're gonna meet some troll because it's the internet.
So you almost just have to have a thick skin, I suppose. You just don't let it worry you, and carry on.
Yeah, that's what you need to create and build.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it too. I mean, the first time it happens, second time it happens, you're a little bit more not prepared, but you don't feel as bad to like telling them off.
Okay, good. Feel free to ignore this question if you want, Void, but I wanted to ask it because you seem very stable. You have a full-time job. You're streaming. You have a partner. Can I ask? And again, if you don't want to answer this is totally fine. Can I ask what your partner?
I love question. There's no problem.
Can I ask? And I'll answer this too if you like. So we'll evenly expose ourselves. Can I ask what your partner thinks about you spending all this time streaming and stuff like that? Is it a point of contention, or do you like? Does she enjoy it, or is she a gamer herself? I don't know.
No, my wife is not about gaming at all. She knows a lot more about gaming than she ever knew in her life because I talk about it and she still watch sometime. She studied medicine, so what happened? She had always her exam and she passed a lot of. She have really good grade because she studied a lot. So all the time that she passed studying, I was playing. So it's like we have both our hobby and we do our stuff. I think most of the time because she's studying, there's no problem. Right now she finished her studies, so it can be a little bit more difficult with a lot of gaming. But she's patient and she doesn't. Most of the time she doesn't care. You know, we had some difficult moment where, for example, I had my stream on schedule, but like it's a holiday, for example, and we're going out of town and I don't want to stop streaming because after that it will be even harder to start again. So it's the Sunday morning and I want to come back home a little bit earlier to start the stream. So it can be difficult. It can be, I would say, if you're single, it's a lot easier to stream than if you're in couple. But at least I don't have children. I can't believe there's people with children that are able to stream with a full-time job.
Yeah. Well, there probably are. Yeah,
I know.
They manage.
Yeah, it's all give and take. Yeah, it's interesting. I find that always interesting because I mean, gaming, streaming or gaming in general, it's such a time intensive thing. I mean, the games are so long. Like you go see a movie, it's 2 or 3 hours, you get the whole thing. But with a game, when you're talking 60 to 100 hours, how people balance that in their life is interesting because obviously some people do it much better than others. But yeah, thank you for answering that because I think that gives good insight.
Yeah, it's borderline. It's all the time, all my free time. I put it there mostly, but it's also borderline an addiction to some extent.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything is an addiction. I think.
It's healthier than some other addictions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good. And then just back on streaming again. I don't know whether this is important or it doesn't matter. With streaming, do you have a video of yourself as well, or are you more like Unknown where you just have the game going? Camera of yourself, is that the way to describe it?
Usually people don't have the camera of themselves, but because I'm on PlayStation, when I'm streaming, I see myself on the screen. So
you know what I mean, where you can see the person who's streaming, like in the corner if you're watching the stream.
Like, do you use a face cam? Is what he's asking, basically.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I use a camera. I think it's important. At first I really didn't trust my English accent, so I was a little bit worried, and I feel like there's different type of people in the world. There's people that are more visual, more people that prefer to be auditive, I think in English, as you say. So I think that it's a lot better for visual people to be able to see your face, see your reaction, and to associate a face to the voice. For me, I think it's important. If you have the choice between using a webcam or not, I will always say to use the webcam. So I'm happy with that.
I used to use one. I don't use one anymore.
Yeah, you did some stream Unknown with a webcam.
Yeah, like one of those times when I started and then stopped again. I think the first two I did use a webcam.
And you didn't enjoy it?
I know I used them during both those periods. It's not as enjoyable, no. Because you gotta then you got another thing, the camera. To
Yeah.
make sure that
You have to worry.
and also too, you got to make sure you don't look like terrible, like you just got out of bed or something like that.
You're gonna be dressed up.
I really don't like the feeling of shaving myself for the stream. Like, I really wish I wouldn't have to shave myself, but like, I don't have a beard. It's terrible if I let that grow. So.
I like that. You've got to be aesthetically pleasing as well for the audience. I love it. Yeah, good. So, I mean, we've probably hardly touched on streaming at all, but I found that fascinating from my perspective to learn a little bit. Could you maybe to wrap this sort of up, Void, and I'll ask you Unknown as well. What tips? I know we've already covered tons of them, but what tips would you give any people that are about to start streaming or thinking about getting into it? Any last minute advice?
Just make sure that you have a microphone. Like, I would say don't bother streaming only gameplay without a microphone. If you have a microphone, just push the button. Just try it. It could be stressful, but don't worry too much about it. Just plug the microphone. Try to describe your gameplay. Try to say anything really, and just go for it.
And Unknown, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, keep talking if there's nobody there. I don't know, you just get naturally better at it too. Like, I was really terrible at just talking to myself initially.
Pretty sure we're all terrible when you start. So.
Yeah, it's just second nature at this point.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you very much, both of you, for talking about that. Shall we move over to our spam of the week this week? Yeah. So I don't know, Void. If you know what we do here, we basically just pull some games that we think might be. Actually, you know what? Before we do this, we never did the new games, did we? I completely forgot. We should do that.
No,
because that's fun. Yeah, so listeners, what we've got, if you're persisting with us to this point, as we said a few weeks ago, the drop. There's just so many games coming out all the time. There's 11 this week, so we've decided just to pick one each. I think, and we'll just give you the little spiel or whatever we think about it. So I don't know, Unknown. Would you like to start us off?
All right, I was going to. All right, so Sony's preemptive strike on Fire Emblem, 3 houses, or I think it's 3 houses. Is it 5 houses? The houses one, but I can't think of the number right now. Fell Seal, which also might just be on Switch, I don't know. Turn-based tactical RPG, focused on storytelling and strategic battles, unfold a mature story as you progress through handcrafted scenarios, controlling your own group of arbiters. Each character customizable from a wide selection of classes and abilities. And then you just got these 2 people in armor, so it's just Fire Emblem basically. It's Fire Emblem, I'm calling it.
Fair enough.
That sounds really awesome. I didn't heard about this game, but I'm totally into it. And the trophy list is already there too. Get the first ending, second ending. So there's 2 ending.
Oh, is
Maybe you have 2 game. I mean, yeah, something like that. You need to have all.
Or you just make a save at the end. Could be weird too, where you have some ending where it's like you got to make sure certain characters survive. It has to be exactly these characters and no more.
Oh, I think that Platinum's going to be a pain. There's a trophy called Open Book. View all optional dialogue event.
Oh, that's probably that's probably some in each tactical turn-based thing. Make sure you go visit some house tough, or something.
But it seems like a really cool game.
And then also Game Freak trying to make another non-Pokemon game so that people will not think of them as the Pokemon people. Giga Wrecker Alt. Near future, Earth's been ravaged by robot invaders. Fate of the planet rests on the shoulders of a young girl who becomes more than human, saved from death and cursed with cybernetic powers beyond comprehension. Up to Rakiji, I guess that's how you pronounce that, to save humanity from the evil Ajit in this exciting game from the legendary.
It sounds cool.
Watch it just be have Pokemon in it. They should just put no, actually, because if they're trying to distance themselves from Pokemon, they won't. Just put some Pikachu Easter egg in the thing.
I didn't know they were doing other games than Pikachu, Pokemon.
No, they had some other ones. I can't even think of them. I know they had several other ones, several other attempts at games. I think some of them weren't even all that bad. It's just, I just see Game Freak and I just immediately think Pokemon.
Interesting. And Void, did you find some?
Yeah, I found a game. It's called Fate to Silence. The game is it takes the player into a frozen post-apocalyptic world where defying nature treats an enemy is key. A compelling mix of a puzzling story, a constant strife for resource balancing, short-term need versus your long-term goal. The game is looking really, really cool. It's actually a survival open world game. There's a big when I was looking at some gameplay, it's really looked like some Horizon Zero Dawn open world with some crafting. It's look extremely nice. I'm really interested. I really love everything that is survival and open world. Like I play a lot of Fallout games, so if it's post-apocalyptic, I think there could be some interest into that. It's called Fate to Silence. There is no the trophy list is not there yet, so, but it's gonna release on the April 30.
Excellent. Wow. I'm not used to having someone that's actually done some research on games on here. You're putting us both to shame. So I was just looking through, most of these games look to be digital this week, but that's actually digital and retail, Fate to Silence. So yeah, you can get it either way if you want. Yeah, perfect. And then I was going to do, which I did no research for, Box VR. Because just why not at this point? Why not? So Box VR brings music-enhanced, boxing-inspired workouts to virtual reality gaming. So it's like Beat Saber, but for boxing. Leading fitness instructors help us produce a variety of boxing workouts specifically designed to destroy calories in the most entertaining way ever devised. We are constantly moving Box VR. It's an unfortunate name. Box VR with new classes, music, moves, and features. So,
now, when you say Box VR to me, I think of like a VR game where you're a mime and you're trying to do that box thing.
Yeah,
that's what
I don't know.
Box. Like not boxing.
It's actually a game that released in 2017 on Steam. So the review are mostly positive.
I thought you were gonna say mostly.
I think we have a winner.
Yeah. I think I just make sure you're playing in a big room with no one around. Because could you imagine if you're just throwing the arms out and someone walks? Oh, it could end badly.
Wait. How are these people playing Box VR without VR helmets on?
I don't know.
There's a picture and they're just standing there, but they don't got any VR on at all.
They're probably the only two characters in the game. They probably are. I don't know.
Wait, that's what it looks like graphically? That's amazing.
Actually, it's looking really nice. It's actually really looking like Beat Saber VR, where you're not like playing some rhythm fighting game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's different. Like, yeah, why not as well? I mean, Beat Saber was awesome, so it could be worth a go. It'll be interesting to see the trophy list for that game when it comes out.
I feel like, though, isn't the PC VR lighter than the PS4 VR, though? The helmet?
I never tried it. I don't know.
Because I feel like if you're boxing, you want to be like moving around a bunch. You don't want this weight on your head.
Yeah, well, the cords as well.
That would be my concern.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Who knows? We will see. I'll probably pick that up just for the sake of it and see what happens. And then I will, only because Unknown will probably play it this week and refuse to talk about it next week.
No,
the
move
Bird
on.
Game.
Spam of the
is that Bird Game Plus or is that just Bird? No, it's Bird Game with a plus beside it. So is this a rat game? Is that why we're not going to deal with it?
It is Bird Game Plus.
Okay, Bird Game Plus. Perfect. So, if you feel like being a bird or a frog king, go for it.
Or you feel like earning a trophy in 10 or a plat in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I will probably play that then. Fair enough. So there's it seems like there's some interesting stuff there this week as well. So definitely check that out. Also, we're not going to go into it, but the Golden Week sale started this week in the NA, lining up with the holidays in Japan. So there'll be tons of Japanese games. I don't know if either of you have looked at the sale yet, but
I did not find very much good stuff in that.
Okay.
I'm kind of disappointed, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, there is a lot of stuff.
I know Void found some stuff. Void found some stuff, but I feel like most of that stuff isn't even like Golden Week sale anyway.
Oh.
It's just like Golden Week sale is more like...
I'm a big fan of Japanese stuff.
Yeah, more like Persona games and
Mm.
JRPGs and stuff like that is more, I think, of for in the Golden Week sale, and I didn't see very stuff related to that.
Well, someone told me, I haven't looked at it, but someone, so I'm just taking this on trust, said that there were no Neptunia games or very few in the sale, which I found surprising. So
they're right. How do you not have one of them?
I don't know.
There is some of them, I think,
Really?
just maybe not all of them.
I'm not sure.
I don't think I saw one now that CJ mentions it.
Anyway, there's almost 600 things there, so there might be something that you're interested in. It'll probably take a week to get through that list. Anyway, so
They also there's what VR2, I guess. I guess that's a decent deal.
yeah,
$12.
yeah, okay.
I guess I played it though, so that's probably why I overlooked it. But I feel like a lot of them are not even. I feel like our previous Golden Week sales were a lot better than this.
Oh, it's there. I think it's only for. I read a post that said it was only for North America, but there is sales going on in the Japanese store and the Hong Kong sale. So I think it's in the possibly North America's the only Western store. Yeah, that it's on. I don't know at this stage. But anyway, so that's out there. So shall we go across? If I haven't stuffed up the order now, I think we're back on track, sort of. Shall we go over to the spam of the week?
That bird game. First off, well, it's not. The list isn't out yet. It will be. Like, watch Rad actually make like a hard list. Make it harder than Race the Sun. Legit.
I'm ready for one of their game to be auto pop.
Yes, I can't.
I'm so ready for that. They're gonna be 6-stack all auto pop.
They'll do it one day. It'll happen. We're getting really close. We're on the edge.
Yeah, we're getting very close. We're down to 3 minutes. Well, I threw out the idea of a subscription model. I'd be quite happy with where you just send them $20 a month and they just send you a plat a week. You don't turn on the console; they just give it to you.
That's not worth their $20 a month.
Well, that's what you're paying now, $5 a game, 4 plats a month. It's the same thing. They just don't need to send the game. They could just send the trophy.
You're not paying $20 a game.
No, $20 for the month, and you get
$3 cross buy.
You get 4 plats. Yeah. Oh, okay. See, you're saying get cross buy. Okay.
They're cross buy, so.
Oh, well, send me 8 plats. Send me 10. I don't mind for the 20. That's fine. They'll save on making
$20 a week, $20 a month, 10 plats.
Yeah.
10 plats a month.
Why not? That seems like a good deal. Save on porting. They get the money.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
Well, next week we'll see how that goes. But what about that? That's not available yet. So what looks good coming up?
Zerotopian Invasion. Times like however many. Metagal again. Gee, already has 172 owners and just came out like today, I think, or yesterday.
Yes, this is the Asian stack. Yeah.
Yeah, the Asian ones usually have a lot less people too. Zerotopian Invasion again. My big sister, I feel, is going to be very easy. At least you got to play the whole thing, apparently. But I still feel like it's going to be super easy and not very long. It's also apparently just all story, pretty much, and walking around. So I feel like that's going to be super easy.
You know what surprises me, Void, about this segment each week is how animated and alive Unknown becomes when we reach this. For someone who hates these sort of games, he's very passionate about them.
That's why, though.
I don't play. I don't play them at all.
Why, though? Because I am just like, it just makes my blood boil.
Yeah, he has his rank on the leaderboard at stake. Miami. I'm fine.
That's right. We're so far down the pages that nobody can find us. We can't even find ourselves. So it doesn't matter.
I'm getting to that point. I'm dropping like a fly.
Oh, I'm dropping a lot too. Like I think it's like a month ago I managed to reach like 3,000 in the world rank, and I started Path of Exile for like 3 weeks, and I lost 80 ranks. I'm losing them like crazy. People are just passing me with some stacks of Ratalica game.
Yeah, I know. I know what you mean. Actually, it was someone in Discord. They were saying I think there was 105. I think it was only Rat games that were 30 minutes or under an hour if you did all the stacks of it or something. Mm-hmm. That is insane.
I think they have more than that. I mean no, I think you're right. There's 2 pages of 50, 105, but one game is Plantera, so they don't have a plat. 104.
Yeah, but that's like insane.
Yeah, 104. You can get 100.
Because then you add on to that the Pougy ones. Well, actually, that's just all their games. It's not just the short ones then.
Yeah, exactly. But
Okay, because then I guess you could reduce the number a bit because
they have they have like one game that is like 3 stack that is longer.
well, they have League of Evil, which is a couple hours. They got a few that are a little longer. They're older ones.
Well, I think the point is, if you want to reach level 100 level cap with Sony, you're probably looking at a good weekend now of game, and you'll be there.
Certainly 100.
Just put aside a Saturday.
100 class is doable if you just take a week off or something. You could just do it.
Yeah. Possibly. Is there anything else? I see these ugly dolls and the imperfect adventure. That's a very high percentage, so I don't know that that's out yet. So that looks wonderful. If that interests you, I don't know though. I mean, well, there are of course all the Iron Snout stacks, so people will be busily working through their Iron Snouts.
Well, it's a high percentage because only 2 people have played the game. No one's finished.
Yeah, I see that. I don't think it's released yet. So
not.
Maybe not. It might be. Well, we're just.
I was thinking I was looking at if you look at the trophy images, it kind of looks like the Puyu's episode 3.
Oh, it does too. Lovely. Oh, it's a cooperative game as well. Fantastic. We'll have to see about that. And then what about this murder detective, Jack the Ripper? It actually. Oh,
it's a
no,
VN.
It's a VN. I didn't realize till I opened the list. What a shame. It's like, oh, that could
It's
be
just
quite
like a straight up VN, I think. Well,
yeah,
it might be a little different. It might be a little.
People
No,
did it
I mean you got
in an hour.
CGs, you got
An hour and a half.
I must admit now, when I see these, like that title, that would interest me. And then when I click on it and I see that everything's in Japanese, the trophies, I'm like, oh, I feel a little sad, I think. And then I realize I'll probably end up skipping it as a VN anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's a little
Bricks
sad.
2 got DLC again. Well, the other stack, by the way. Yeah. Like 6 months after the other version got it. It's weird.
That's awesome. You'll be forced to buy the. Is it a free DLC or?
I don't think so. I don't remember if the last one was free.
Oh, okay. I noticed the trophy list for A Plague's Tale is there, but it's not till May. That will be quite good, I think, but we'll get to that in a few weeks. Probably not spam, that one. Cool. Anything else you can see? Anything else you want to throw out there? I mean, that is more than enough.
I didn't look at too many of these lists, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that there's a few people just in various groups and things outside of the Discord that have recently adopted a more trophy whoring stance and are playing through all these games. And I see their pictures. Sometimes they even send them to me. And I must say, I do really like it. So if you're jumping on this bandwagon, I know there's a lot of hate or whatever lately.
Wait, where do you get sent all this
well,
stuff?
they know that I just play anything and I have no standards. So that, I'm not going to be... They know there's no point sending me a picture of an ultra rare platinum because I'm indifferent. But send me a picture of 6 stacks of iron snout and I'm all over.
Yeah, but you got that. You got like people telling you. No, I'm just wondering where they send you stuff. You got this. You got stuff earlier.
I get some stuff on PSN.
Oh, on your PSN.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They must mistakenly, think that I'm a nice person or, interesting person.
Send them to you instead of me, right?
Well, I think I told you we had some, your messages were closed or something. So yeah, that may have been the reason, but that's fine. But don't worry. In amongst all that, I still get all the sex bots and everything else from the PSN that send me. Although they tend to send more to my alt accounts. They seem to be getting a lot of action lately.
Since I opened my messages up again, I have not gotten any spam.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Really?
Maybe it's based on
I got one.
I realize.
I got one, but it was really weird. It was like something you'd ask a bot on an online dating site. Are you real?
Oh, good.
I think is what the message was.
Well, look, if those sex bots want to start offering a platinum trophy, I'll do whatever they want. I don't care. I'm happy for it.
Whoa.
We'll sort it out. Could you imagine? I think Sony censorship will stop that before we get to
That's
that.
not going to be their next VR game?
I hope. Good. Look, that is more than enough.
Whoa. All right.
That is more than enough games for this week, I think, for us. So, Yeah. So, and we're back to running long again. Awesome. So, I'd like to thank Void for joining us today and giving us his time.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
Not a problem. I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic listening and learning a little bit about streaming as well. Can I ask, where can we find you if we're looking for you?
Yeah, for sure. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram, Twitch. I'm all of the same thing. It's Pvt Void, like the short for private, Pvt Void. I'm there on every social media.
Excellent. Yeah, good. So if you're around, if you're interested in streaming, why don't you check him out and see what it's all about? And Unknown, where can we find you?
Twitch and Twitter, both MrUnknown 625.
Perfect. And the show now has a Twitter as well. It's at Pvt Plat. We actually got the name back. So, I don't know really how it works, but hopefully we're going to pass that over to Unknown soon, because I just friended everyone, or I'm not sure what it's called, following. Apparently that's not what you do, so I don't know. But, if you feel like writing something in there or whatever, you can. If you want to give us a question for the week, you can. Otherwise, I've got a ton of fantastically silly questions we can go back to in the next few weeks if we don't get any, but that is cool. The podcast is available on iTunes Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud. What's impressive is that up until 2 months ago, I didn't know about at least 4 of those platforms. So, look, we're all learning. It is fantastic. Anyway, so once again, thank you to Unknown and Void for joining us, and I think we'll leave it there. Happy trophy hunting. Have a great week. Bye.
Yep, see you, everybody.
Bye, guys.